Hello and welcome to this session on understanding communication. This is Shilpa Hattangdi, Assistant Professor in the Department of Communication Media for Children, SNDT Women's University, Pune. In this session, we will learn about the basic concepts of communication. We will look at some definitions given to us by the scholars. We will try and understand the functions of communication and also study the elements of communication. What purpose does communication serve in our lives? Is it central to us? Yes, definitely. Communication is very central to our lives. It is a very interesting process and it is all around us. To study this process of communication is very interesting. We communicate all the time, sometimes subtly and sometimes very openly. We communicate by the choices we make, choices of colors, choices of perfumes, choices of clothes that we make. The way we communicate changes when we are communicating with our parents, our teachers, sometimes when we communicate with ourselves, our innermost fears, our innermost feelings, thoughts. The way one communicates changes in an event of an argument. One gets defensive. The voice, the pitch, the intonation changes with the mood and the situation. It shapes human behavior, and hence it is crucial for all of us to have a clarity in understanding the process of this communication. In our day to day lives, communication is a system through which messages are sent and a feedback is received. It is thus a process of transferring very important information, messages from one source to another. The exchange of information happens through words, gestures, expressions, signs, symbols. It's a dynamic process of action and interaction towards a desired goal. The English word communication is derived from the Latin noun communis and the Latin verb communicare, which means to make common. In today's times, this word encompasses a whole lot of experiences, actions. It's a very dynamic word in the sense it covers events. One can recall a bidai ceremony of a daughter when the marriage ceremony concludes, and it is time for the daughter to leave her home and move to a new house with her husband and start a new life. The event is a one mixed with emotions, moist eyes, happiness, anticipation, and anticipation of a bright future for the young couple. Hugs, overwhelming feelings of the bride and her parents. Some cultures have very beautiful folk songs dedicated to this event, expressing these mixed feelings. That is also communication. Being sung, songs are sung soulfully and they arouse emotions. Isn't that an experience? A child is extremely intelligent to understand the nonverbal gestures made by the mother. The mother could reprimand the child and remind the child repeatedly to switch off the smartphone or switch off the television and move to the study table. After a point of time, after repeated instructions, the child only needs to see the mother's eyes or the firm look on the mother's face. And the child can guess that it's time to go back, or the child is going to cross limits and it's going to get difficult for the mother. So the child understands and he stops using the phone and goes back. The mother need not say a word. She can communicate very effectively through her eyes. To communicate, we make use of various means of communication like speech, writing, printed material, pictures, gestures, expressions, and also technology in form of radio, television, computers or email, social media, so on and so forth. A human being's innate ability to think, to communicate, and specifically to use arbitrary symbols of language makes humans very, very special. This ability of abstract thinking and communicating using symbols of language is indeed mind blowing. We do consider other media of communication very important, but language is definitely most significant, as it forms a basis for gathering, storing, imparting knowledge, and making or breaking of relationships. Our need to communicate is so strong and so basic that depriving one of this basic needs can be one of the severest form of punishments for criminals. In a broader sense of the word, communication has very many meanings, and our understanding of communication will broaden once we understand these meanings. The study of communication is interdisciplinary and it involves a study of various fields. From a psychologist's point of view, it understands the causes and effects of communication on individuals. Sociologists and anthropologists study the process of communication between societies and cultures. Zoologists study the communication between animals. Communication also refers to a field of study of nonverbal communication and the effect of televised content on children, people. Sometimes communication is also studied from the perspective of languages, philosophy, and performing arts. After this brief understanding about the concept of communication, let us move to the definitions given to us by the scholars. Dennis McQuail, a communication scholar, explains human communication in linear terms as sending of meaningful messages from one person to another. The sender receives, encodes a message, and sends it to the receiver, who in turn sends a feedback to the sender. Carl Hovland, a psychologist, explains communication as the process by which the communicator transmits the stimuli to modify behavior among other individuals. For example, a mother giving instructions to children and developing habits in them for a desired change in behavior. For example, washing hands, keeping things in place, keeping their room tidy, and a desired behavior is expected from the children. Wilbur Schramm defines communication as a mechanism through which human relations exist and develop. The Oxford Dictionary defines communication as the transfer or conveying of meaning. Communication is a dynamic process in which action and interaction are directed towards a desired goal. Thus, communication can also be defined as a process of sharing or exchanging of ideas, information, knowledge, attitudes, feelings among two or more people through certain signs and symbols. Isn't it interesting that communication can be defined in so many different ways? I.A. Richards defines communication as the exchange of meanings between individuals through a common system of symbols. After this brief introduction, let us now understand what functions communication serves in our lives. Communication expert Harold Lasswell has given us these three central functions of communication. Firstly, surveillance of the environment. Secondly, correlation of the parts of society in responding to the environment. And lastly, transmission of social heritage from one generation to another. The primary function of communication is to inform and educate people and provide entertainment and persuade people for change in desired behavior. Another important function of communication is to fulfill needs of people. Communicating to educate begins very early for an individual through primary caregivers, parents, grandparents, neighbors, society, school, college, and this process continues throughout life. It enables smooth functioning by providing the necessary expertise. Communication enriches and empowers us with information and knowledge. It entertains us. We watch films, listen to radio, music, relish literature and poetry. Preservation and promotion of culture is also an important function of communication. The essence of our culture, heritage, folk media are passed on to the future generations. The richness of languages is passed and preserved to future generations. Persuasion is another important function of communication, as it helps in reaching for a decision on public policy. It attempts to influence people's attitudes, opinions, behaviors towards other people or events, ideas, or objects. Communication fulfills needs of people. A large part of the day, we find ourselves interacting with our children, with our family, parents, siblings, co workers, sometimes strangers. Communication helps us to create an identity of our own. We create messages and we present them the way we want to be seen by others. Our social needs are very importantly met by communication. Our need to be identified in society, our need to be recognized, are met by communication, by the way we interact with our fellow friends. Communication also fulfills our social needs. We feel good after chatting with our friends, after a hearty long chat with our close, maybe sister, brother, or a family or spouse. We feel good when we have a hearty chat with them. Our lives would have been empty if our social needs were not fulfilled. Communication also helps us to practically communicate. Like if you're not feeling well, you go to the doctor and explain your symptoms. That is communication. Let us now move on to the elements of communication, without which this process of communication is incomplete. The first element of communication is the sender. Sender is essential for any communication to take place. The sender sends a message to the person with whom he or she wishes to communicate. Message. Message is composed as a result of thoughts, actions, feelings, ideas, emotions, and sent across. Channel. Channel is an essential element of communication. We cannot transmit a message without a proper channel. We will choose the channel depending on whom the message is intended to be. The next element of communication is the receiver. The messages are intended to reach the receiver or the audience, without whom this entire process of communication is incomplete. Feedback is a reaction to the message sent by the sender. It is a response to the message. For example, if someone says, "Please excuse me," then the response would be, or the feedback would be, giving way or moving aside. The next element of communication is noise. Noise, being the next element, is causing disturbance in the communication process. It is because of this noise that the communication process may fail or may remain incomplete. Encoding and decoding are two crucial elements in this process. The sender forms the messages in the mind and translates these ideas and information or thoughts into the message, and also decides a medium to communicate this encapsulated message. Decoding involves interpretation of this message by the receiver. The receiver looks for common understanding and meaning in this message, which is sent by the sender. The process of encoding and decoding appears very simple when we think of the voice being converted to electromagnetic frequencies. But if one thinks of the communication situations and delves deeper into the psyche of the human mind, then one begins to understand the complexities of encoding. Communication cannot take place without these elements. To conclude this session, communication plays a crucial role in our lives. It is defined by different scholars from different perspectives. We also studied the functions served by communication and the elements that complete the communication process. That brings us to the end of this session. Thank you for your kind attention.